to ascend the 4 towers of the Masters. They are memorials to the pilots who gave their lives to save the world. To find them,
I need you to find the Chaos Emeralds. While I take care of something else.
I won't give up. I think our opponent has repurposed the constructs to bolster the distortion's defensive measures. In other words, keep smashing.
I like the direct approach.
The trials you face will be grueling, and we will have precious little time.
Alan, wasn't that the coolest thing ever back then, bro? You gotta admit, that was really cool. Come on, that trailer was one of the dopest things. Sonic, I'm in the middle of this video, man. Dang, dude, you sound deeper. You good? Yeah, man. Just let me take care of this video. No interruptions, please. Alright, but just know, DLC was lit. Anyways, carry on with your video. Alright, freaking blue blur guy. Maybe at least dim the lights a little bit. Anyways, let's get to talking, shall we? Alright, so let's talk about Sonic Frontiers, the new DLC, DLC 3 / the update, whatever, yada yada yada. Let's talk about it, right? So, I want to talk about, like, the beginning. After the trailer, I want to talk about the very beginning. How I felt the first time when this first dropped, and after I played it, all that other sort of stuff. Okay. So, let's talk about it. Stinky, or Stinty? Stinky? Yeah, Stinky. Yeah. Welcome. But anyway, so let's start. So, when, from the U.S., I've been born and lived in the U.S. all my life. Anyways, so when Sonic Frontiers, The Final Horizon came out like a year or two ago now, I remember being absolutely livid at DLC 3. And I mainly said disappointed / pissed off at DLC 3 because DLC 3 decides to completely change the ending of Sonic Frontiers, right? If you remember the original ending from Sonic Frontiers, basically the original ending goes like this, right? You fight this giant planet, and at the end, you shoot through them, alright? It was very disappointing, the way they executed it, the way the entire final boss fight was pretty easy, especially if you're level 99, all that other sort of stuff, and it's very easy / very disappointing, okay? And DLC 3 from Sega decides to change that up by completely adding new content. And this is all for free. You can play this for free, which was probably the one benefit of this DLC, other than like stuff I'm going to get into, right? But basically they changed the ending. I remember after they announced that basically The Final Horizon is like a redo of the final bit of Sonic Frontiers, I was pissed because I'm like, why wasn't this an original game thing? Why did they, and I get it, you know, they were probably running out of time for this Sonic game to release, so that's why they probably didn't do it, and they gave us the ending that they gave us in the original game. But I remember that really pissed me off back then, because, again, like I said, you giving us this ending, right, this thing that was in the original game, it felt like you only made this because of all the backlash you got from how the original game ended from all sides. this ending sucks. Why didn't we get a better one? You only made that to compensate for that, right? And I get it, it was a cool new supersonic form. 2 of them, actually, if you want to go there. You got to play as all the other characters. It was weird. Okay? And I say it was weird because there was a lot of people that were on board with this, but there was also a lot of people that weren't on board with this. And it was weird because it was like they did it in a way for a lot of people. They created the best ending of the game. But in a lot of ways, they pissed a lot of people off because it's like, wow, why wasn't this, like, if y'all have this in the back, like a much better ending, why wasn't this the original ending? And I remember I went with that notion because, it looked so much better. It felt so much better as an ending. I don't know why they waited so long until DLC 3 for this to be an ending. Why didn't they just go with that? Why didn't they just tell Sega to delay the game a bit, to add that in? So that way when the game first came out, boom, for DLC, a little bit, they could have done something else. They could have given you like a playable shadow instead, or just something else, right? And I remember being so frustrated at this DLC that I think I didn't even play it. It was either I didn't even play it because I just felt like supporting Sega after that DLC launch was a really stupid move, because it's like, why support them now when they should have had that at the beginning? That energy is fucking retarded, right? So that was my thought process like about a year ago on the game, right? About this new Horizons bullshit / Sonic Frontiers in general, all that other sort of stuff. Sonic Frontiers was a good game, but rough, right? At least for the original game. But Horizon, I was like, nah, I'm not playing that because of that BS. So let me get right into Horizon content now. So why did I come back to Horizon a year or 2 later after, the final update's out and all that other sort of stuff? Well, I've been on a journey to play every 3D Sonic game, or most 3D Sonic games I can get my hands on, right? And this also includes 2D Sonic games as well. I've been playing a lot of Sonic, going back to what I have with Sonic and making gameplays and live streams of the Blue Blur, right? So, and I wanted to give Final Horizon, like, a shot, because I'm like, hey, it's been a while since I played Sonic Frontiers, especially it's been a year since I originally made my Sonic Frontiers gameplay videos, you know what I mean? So, it's been a while. So, I was thinking maybe New Horizon can kind of be like a fresh coat of paint. Lucas, welcome to stream. It can be a fresh coat of paint for me. It can be cool. It can be whatever, right? So, I decided to give it a play, right? And because, keep in mind, I haven't played this in a long time, or haven't seen the ending in a long time, so I've pretty much forgotten, like, literally everything about Sonic Frontiers, at least the Final Horizon DLC bit of the game. So, basically, the whole point is, since it's about redoing the final island, you're basically taking Amy, Tails, and Knuckles, or Amy, Knuckles, Tails. And you're going around not only trying to find emeralds, but you're also fighting bosses on Oris Island, the final island of the game, before you can move on. Do you have a Discord? Yes, I do. But it's mainly to just kind of chill and hang out with everybody, all my viewers and all that other sort of stuff. But keep in mind, I barely use Discord. I only use it to, like, talk to certain people or get my videos out there, so keep in mind. It's on my About page. My YouTube page, so keep that in mind. But anyways, why do you wear a hat inside? Because, I don't know, I can. It's just personal preference. I just enjoy it. Really. Can you talk to me? Not right away. Because I take a while to see for replies and friend requests and all that other sort of stuff. Also, just to be real, I don't talk with, like, just everybody, alright? Like, I try my best to, but if you kind of give me, like, a certain vibe, right, then I might not talk to you, or I might talk to you. It just all depends on how I feel. What kind of hat is that? It is a Cape Cobbler hat. It's a Boston Scally. It's a Scally hat. But anyways, been wearing it like crazy as of late. But anyways, as I was saying, right? So the DLC talks about them, all that other sort of stuff. Let's continue, right? So getting to play. Hey, is you a pro? A pro? No, I'm not a pro, or whatever you think I am. I'm just a dude trying to talk about Sonic the Fuck Hog. Can I do that? But Sonic the Hedgehog. But yeah. But anyways, as I was saying, when I first opened this DLC, right, I didn't think like I would be enjoying the DLC all that much. You know, I didn't think I would enjoy it because of what I said last time, like over a year ago. I was going in with very low expectations, right? But I don't know. Something about like playing a 3D Sonic game at that point in time, at that moment, kind of really hooked me. And I say that because of the fact that yeah, literally like the moment I touched Frontiers again, like I made a goal to myself. I said I'm gonna replay all of Frontiers, right, until it's done. That's the only game I'm streaming until the job gets done over there, you know, all that other sort of stuff. So it's different. It's kind of cool. It gives me a kind of a push to keep up, do something else, right? So when I got onto the game Final Horizon and started playing, you know, for the first time in a long time, I didn't think I was going to go in there enjoying it. I thought I was going to hate my experience. But, bro, when I touched down as Amy for the first time, bro, hold on. Sonic Frontiers Final Horizon character OSTs. Right? Bro, I didn't think I would vibe with, like, any of the character themes, bro. Like, because low-key, I went into this with some of the lowest expectations on the planet. Bro, you're telling me, like, you hear Amy's? Alright? Amy's freaking theme, bro. No Sick Terra Fronts? I don't even know what the hell that is, bro. Bro, I remember hearing Amy's, just traveling around the world, just hearing her theme song, just blasting off, popping off even. I couldn't believe it. It was like I'm listening to, like, Sonic official lo-fi over here, you know? As I'm exploring the world and going through the landscapes, doing the usual Sonic Frontiers gameplay, I really felt like when I was playing all three of the characters, Amy, Knuckles, Tails, oh my fucking god, where do I begin? I mean, Amy's card attack ability, Amy's card super high jump ability was super fun to use. I didn't really use her Pico hammer because I wasn't really trying to level them up to the max, like all four of them and whatever. I was just trying to get through because you guys know me. I like getting through the games and just clearing them and all that other sort of stuff. But yeah, like going around as them, using like at least some of their abilities to some of their extents. Bro, I have never felt happier playing them all over again. Because keep in mind, in Sonic games after a while, we stop playing like Sonic's friends and we only focus on playing Sonic and Shadow or just Sonic for the most part. Since everybody else, quote unquote, you know, no one likes everybody else's gameplay and it kind of hurts. But yeah, just hearing like Amy's theme while doing all that stuff was so fucking cool. Bro, you get Knuckles' theme? I remember playing Knuckles. Bro, Knuckles easily, bar none, had the best fucking theme I've ever heard in this entire Sonic Frontiers lo-fi shit. I'm telling you, it takes Tails out of it entirely, bro. I was sitting there having some of the most fun. I was laughing with Chris. I was enjoying my time with him during all this stuff. Like, that period of my life playing Amy, Knuckles, and some of Tails was some of the most relaxing, some of the most fun I've had on Sonic Frontiers, bro. Like, I'm talking like in its entirety. I'm not talking like just a little bit. I'm talking entirely. That includes the entire base game included. Because going around most of those islands as Sonic and fighting them at the end as Super Sonic was really fucking cool. But man, playing those guys, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, that shit was straight E. And then here's Tails a little bit. Yeah, here Tails a little bit. Tails' theme is good too. Don't want to get copyrighted too much for it though, but you get my point. So fucking good. And then you're also like not only focused on having everyone get the emeralds for you, but you're also focusing on like going after 5 towers with different trials. And I ain't gonna lie, most of the trials were fun, easy to just kind of talk about for a bit, but I ain't gonna lie. The final trial kind of got me a little bit because basically that final trial, most of the trials is like testing your combat and your skills with certain abilities being fixed and all that other sort of shit. That's kind of what the trials are for this main thing. And also I think they've been patched as well to make the trials a lot easier, because I remember one of the biggest reasons why this DLC was very hit or miss and very mixed was because these trials were fucking difficult, you know, trying to scale up them when they first came out, man. But nowadays, when I went into them, they were all, like, pretty hard, but they were also, like, sort of easy to get up there and figure out, like, trying to get into the trial, at least get up to the pillar of the trial. But when they first released, I remember they made some of these the most hardest Sonic things out there, at least to my knowledge, from what I remember. But, yeah, most of the trials were just like, figure out this combat, figure out that in combat, yada, 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 so on and so forth, right? So other than that, right, we also have the final trial, which the final trial was fighting Titan, Wyvern, and Knight back to back to back without having shit to replenish your rings, like back to back, kind of like a Mega Man refight joint. And I remember getting kind of pissed at this a little bit. I was pissed, but I wasn't pissed at this for a while. I remember sitting there, I was like, okay, you know, I understand why this trial exists. It's pretty hard, but I want to, like, just, you know, I understand. Like, it just kind of left me with mixed feelings. And another thing other than the final trailers and stuff that I had a problem with, I did have a problem with Tails' joint, Tails' little mini story thing, and our Tails' section, right, when you first play him or when you play him for the second time. I had a problem with this shit because trying to reach the Chaos Emerald as him was very confusing, and it kind of pissed me off because, and I say that because I really didn't enjoy, like, how you, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy how it worked. I didn't enjoy, I don't know, Tails' little bit how to reach that emerald. It sucked, in my opinion. It really did. It sucked. But yeah, so let's start talking about the real final meat of the cake. Let's talk about the true final boss of Sonic Frontiers. What are the changes? What I liked? What I didn't like? Since I pretty much talked about most of the... Anyways, here we are.
Oh, you guys are the best.
Right? So we get this...
Fashionably late, but hey, you tried.
I love Sonic there. That was nice Sonic stuff. But basically, if they have to deal with them all over again, it's a whole thing, right? So, what makes this fight pretty annoying, right? So, you're sitting there thinking when you fight regular Supreme all over again, you're sitting there thinking, okay, why have to fight regular Supreme? Whatever, we fought the first 3, you know, we redid the first 3 Titans. It's whatever, who cares? Right? I don't care. in Sonic Frontiers, we get it, right? So what is my main problem, right? So basically, Void, or not, the planet, I can't remember, the End basically takes his essence, attached it to Supreme, and now he's called the End Supreme, right? Basically being powered up by the End. And basically you have to hit him, right? And this fight does not let you know how to beat him. And I remember I streamed this fight, wondering what the fuck do I do, looking like a fool, looking like an idiot, and I didn't know how to beat him, right? I had a whole mental thing in my fourth part of my Sonic Frontiers Final Horizon playthrough because of this boss. So I didn't know that you had to hit him and press the dodge thing. Added a lot of things to Super Sonic during this fight, which I'm going to show you, right? So he hit the head, turned around, make sure that core thing is off, and keep in mind, the final boss has infinite health unless you do this absolutely correctly, and if you're base Super Sonic trying to deflect those balls, you can't, you have to fly away. So keep that in mind, right? And you try to damage, you know, the End, you know, until you go Super Sonic 2, right? Which Super Sonic 2 is a badass transformation too, or a badass transformation. So then you're able to completely parry, you know, those balls, all that other sort of stuff, right? And why do I say it's so bad, right? You're trying to damage him to the best of your ability, right? And a lot of people, you know, you damage his head until he's down, right? Until he goes all the way down, like, oh damn, I'm damaged, I'm done, right? Basically, you want to go to his gun cannon where he holds his gun, and you want to punch quick Psyloop the gun. Now, no one told me this, right? No one told me this when I was going in here, right? Keep in mind, I've never fought this boss before, so I wouldn't have known, and I didn't want to look up a guide because I didn't want to, like, just immediately go to a guide and then be like, oh yeah, I looked up a guide. I ruined the fun / I spoiled the fun for myself on this fight, right? And I remember, since I didn't know how to beat him, I remember I kind of sat there at the beginning part, nowhere near this phase, and was like getting really frustrated because this was probably one of the first, or this fight really reminded me of Sonic Unleashed Wii for me, because that was a Sonic game that I quit on. Okay, that was a Sonic game I forever quit. I quit and broke the disc of that game. Y'all, everybody knows that here. And when I quit that game, I never got like a chance to really go back, give it another try, redeem myself, all that other sort of stuff. Never did. Never got the opportunity. And I didn't want this fight from Sonic Frontiers to be another one of those moments where I just gave up on the game and never looked back and just kind of left it uncompleted. You know what I mean? Unfinished. And, you know, for hours of my life, I accidentally deleted the game because I was so angry about this boss. I went over and sat on my bed for a while and was contemplating my life. You know, just wondering, like, am I really going to sit there and quit? Because I was getting extremely frustrated there. I was getting more frustrated than I have on any boss I've played a game on this entire week. Because as you guys know, I'm on a journey to try to just relax from all this anger. You know, not feel so angry all the time. Not get so pissed off all the time. I'm on a journey of trying to not let that anger out. Not dish it out physically and not dish it out towards people in general, right? You know, in general, I'm trying my best to go on a journey to not do that because I'm struggling with that on a regular, struggling to keep my anger in check, right? But anyways, I came back after tons of research, had a quick Psyloop and all this other sort of stuff, and I wanted to go into this boss with new knowledge so I can understand it and deal with it better, right? So after this bit, you know, when you quick Psyloop his blade, you bring his blade out, right? And you're wondering to yourself, what the fuck do I do now? Super Sonic has all these new abilities, and I mean all these new abilities. Like he Psylooped, he could dodge shit, which is weird. And that was not in the original final boss of Super Sonic. Super Sonic, when you play him, you're supposed to parry/block enemy attacks, move on, no side looping, none of that's available in the original game. So all that is completely new, right? So you remove the gun in general after side looping it. It goes away. Then you enter this new phase with whatever his fuck face is. And I got an ad, so now I gotta wait for this ad to go away for us to really be... You know, for us to continue my point in the video. Right? So you got Sage trying to keep Eggman safe, and then the guys come and show up, and then it's up to you again as Supersonic to do the same thing you did last time, right? But the camera goes in like this weird first-person thing, as trying to avoid the hands too, which it's weird what happens here. There's a lot of weird bugs, but basically, you want to try to remove it. Sonic does this cool stuff. Yada yada. You enter this cutscene, which, don't worry. Actually, if you enter this cutscene with not a good amount of range, you will die. So you want to enter this cutscene with a decent amount of range, or barely getting hit, or barely taking damage, which I actually got a game over because of that. Because my ring count wasn't enough. By the way, that blast drains your rings, but you have like a second, you know, type mode of trying to do this, right? You enter Supersonic 2 again. And then you try to, and then you end up beating him after a little bit and all that other sort of stuff. It's a whole thing. It's easy. You do the same thing. You side loop over to his head, but you also try to get his core, so that way, you know, you can easily win this fight. It's a whole thing, yada, 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 right? So what was so hard for me? All of it. It was so damn confusing to me that I remember I spent like over an hour on it. Right? Because I was still getting so confused. I was still struggling with his attacks. I was still struggling with so much shit. And that's the reason why I say this boss fight ended up being kind of bad at the end of the day. Right? Is because this boss fight is confusing in such a bad way. Such a shit way. Even though the cutscene here was really cool. Especially the reference to the Sonic canon and from Sonic X. Especially the also reference of Fleetway Sonic here with the Cyber Sonic looking like Fleetway a little bit. In terms of power, all that other sort of stuff, right? Ending happens, and then it kind of happens similar to the first game, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But I didn't really enjoy this final boss, mainly because of the fact, like I mentioned, I didn't enjoy this because my enjoyment was kind of taken at it a long time ago, with me being confused on how to fight the boss, and how to properly deal with the boss, no one really mentioning what to do, or no one really figuring out what to do, and I don't know, it just fucked with me on a level that I wasn't expecting Sonic Frontiers to kind of mess with me on, and it kind of left me in a pretty bad state. I was glad I finished the game, but my opinion still kind of remained the same after everything. You know, like, I wish this was an original game thing. I wish Sonic Frontiers, you know, had this ending to begin with. This boss fight to begin with. You know, at the end of the original game. So at least people can be like, oh man, you know, this was a great ending to a great Sonic game. Or a good Sonic game at least. But, you know, they waited so long until everyone gave them back and all that other sort of stuff to really add this in. And, I don't know, just... I wish the final boss was a tad less confusing, like the original game's final boss. It was disappointing, but at least it ended quickly, and it wasn't super confusing to figure out, and all that other sort of stuff, at least. But this version decided to be confusing, and rage-inducing. I remember people were telling me in my comment section when I first finished this, like, dude, the boss isn't that bad, I think you just have a skill issue. And you know what I told that person? I told that person to fuck themselves. Because why I told them that specifically off, because if it was so easy, then why the fuck are there hundreds of videos online and I can show you, right? Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizon, final boss, how to beat him. Right? Look how many videos. And I guess I wasn't the only one struggling. But if you take a look here, you have so many videos of trying to beat and explaining how to beat the true final boss of Sonic Frontiers. Look how many videos. In general, full walkthroughs, in general, how to beat them, all that other stuff. It just continues. How did I beat him? How to truly beat him? How to do this? How to do that? Right? And you're wondering, or I'm wondering, when people mention in my comment section, oh, this final boss was super easy. I did him first try. It's not that bad. You just have a massive skill issue or whatever. I'm like, okay, if I have such a massive skill issue in Sonic Frontiers final boss video, all that other sort of shit, right? I don't know why my quality of my video is going absolutely dog shit right now. My internet's been dog shit. Let me see if y'all can hear me clearly. In Sonic Frontiers final boss, all that other sort. Okay, you can hear me, but we got like a 10-second delay and all that other sort of stuff. I don't know why we have a 10-second delay, all that other sort of stuff, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But if the boss was so good designed, if the boss was not confusing, don't you think there would be a lot less videos on how to beat him? Don't you think there wouldn't be that many shorts on how to beat him? Sure, there's people out there that will upload how to beat anything, regardless how easy or how hard it is, because people like tutorial videos and all that other sort of stuff. But you wouldn't think there would be that many, especially with that many views, if people also didn't think this final boss was kind of garbage and required a lot more stuff to do in the final boss than a lot of other Sonic games would. Just saying. And, you know, just to prove a point, that this Sonic boss was actually pretty damn hard, especially going into it for your first time ever in your life, trying to figure it out on your own without some sort of guide. And that doesn't make a boss fight good if you need some sort of guide in order to beat him, you know, or some sort of shit to beat him. It just makes it kind of horrible. Or not as good, if you will. All the above. And, I don't know. Just Sonic Frontiers, like I said, you know, the Final Horizon, when I beat it, it wasn't about me beating it. It was just about me finishing it so I can actually relax. So I can get this shit out of my mind finally and be done, go relax somewhere, go sit at a tree, and be completely done. Don't even worry about it, you know, being Sonic. You know? Or just don't even worry about this game anymore. That's literally how I felt about it. You know, I didn't feel such... I mean, I did feel like the release of, oh yes, sweet Jesus, I finally beat him. But I wasn't feeling like so excited like this was the best final boss in Sonic history, because we've gotten a lot of really good Super Sonic boss fights, you know, in Sonic history that were arguably better than this fight. But anyways, I'm done. I'm done talking about my experience with the Final Horizon of Sonic Frontiers. Feel free to disagree with me. I don't give a fuck. You know. Let me know how you feel about it down below in the comments. I do love different takes. I do love different opinions. It's just that it kind of left me worn out. It kind of left me extremely frustrated by the end. And, you know, I just wanted it done. And now that it's done, it's like, okay, well, let's go do something different with my time. Let's go play 3D Mario. Let's go do something else now. Anyways. Like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share the video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time on a different freaking vid. I'm out. Peace.